Hey, as some of you may know, I'm currently living in Vietnam. So, Vietnam borders right with China, it's right below China. And so they have been taking this COVID 19 pretty seriously, starting in the end of the Lunar New Year, which was January 29th. We were getting ready to go back to school. Right now, I'm also a teacher here, but they decided to stop schools. We were supposed to start school again February 3rd. But from that day, they decided to cancel schools for 2 weeks. Schools are still closed right now, and we're going on month two. They're saying that maybe the schools will open again on April 5th, but they've kept on changing the date over and over and over. Currently, Vietnam has 67 official infected cases with 126 suspected cases, but they have 31,659 people in quarantine right now. I had an opportunity to speak with one of them, my friend Ben. He is currently being held at one of these stations, and I wanted to see what was life like there. So check it out. We heard about some of the things that they do already. Like, I hear that they like spray all the suitcases. What's like your everyday life like?
So on Sunday when I first got back, obviously each of us has to wear a face mask. The soldiers at the facility, they also were trying to be careful. Some of them have face masks on, some of them have the full on like surgeon. It's not like hazmat suit, but like the surgeon cloth, blue cloth thing, like cover their body, and they spray all of our suitcases. Then they took our temperature reading, and then yeah, that's pretty much of the first day. Every day they took a temperature reading in the morning. I was actually waiting for them to take the second temperature reading they're supposed to, but I guess they didn't do it today. They did it yesterday. Uh, and they spray the room. I seems like every week now. Yeah. Also, sorry, every day. So they also spray the disinfectant inside the room, kind of around the doors and so on every day. Yeah.
And like, what do you do? Like, what time do you wake up? Do they make you wake up at a certain time, or is it just like relax?
Yeah.
You're here.
Yeah. So, no, I think this is different for each center. I heard that in other centers you were encouraged to wake up early and so on, but here, yeah, no, they just sort of come in and announce in the morning that, hey, we're gonna get your temperature reading around 7 a.m. I remember, if I remember correctly. And also by that time, we kind of all are awake already because of the airplane started flying at 4 a.m.
Okay.
So like by 6 a.m., like, okay, I'm done. I cannot even sleep. So after that first temperature reading in the morning, it's breakfast time. They have instant noodles here if you want. But you are also more than welcome to order food, like sheep, the delivery food, like food, grab food and so on. You just cannot go to the gate. You actually cannot even go further in towards the entrance. I'm basically, and I can send you the pictures later, but I'm basically sort of are encouraged again. They're really nice. They're really nice, but I am encouraged to stay within the zone right outside my room, but not venture into the front nor in the back where the females are. So sorry, airplanes again. So if I order anything, that they would take it from the delivery guys and then hand deliver it to me in my room. Yeah, so I'm not allowed to go to the gate. So I guess just a precaution because they wouldn't want us to, if we do have the virus, to infect the people, the delivery people, the people from outside. We can't send anything from inside out to outside either. So only receiving, but not sending things out.
So you talked about like women on one side and men on another
Yeah.
side. What about, are there like children there?
Yeah, so I noticed. So on my right here, there was a mother and her daughter, and I think they stayed to. No, I think sorry, they definitely stayed together. I also saw one family, so a husband, a wife, and a son who finished the quarantine and checked out too. So I think they stay also together in the back. So yeah, I think family are allowed to stay together.
Okay. Another thing that I heard was that they were actually separating Westerners and like Vietnamese people. Is that true?
So to that, I don't know because we currently do not have any foreigners in the facility. It's really small, and I'm really glad that I guess I went to the small one. But I heard that the bed next to me last week or I don't know sometime before there was an Italian guy. But I think considering the small size of the facility I am in, I don't think they would separate foreigners, or
Okay.
I think they would try to send foreigners to a different facility. Who knows? But yeah, but actually, yeah, I saw some videos online from another group that there were foreigners in the facilities, but not sure if they were staying in the different room or yeah, all together. I would assume that everyone would stay together too. Yeah.
All right. How are you feeling though? Are you okay? Do you think? Yeah.
Uh,
I guess.
I think you may have also heard about this, but a lot of the people who were or still are actually in quarantine, Vietnamese, those they were talking about how like this is really nice. It's like a retreat. It's like taking a break from life and so on. So they really are. They really these people on social media was really I think for good intention, of course, portraying this as a a positive experience. So I think a lot of my friends were like, oh, I wish that we wouldn't be able to go into quarantine. So, it's like a retreat. Because you are fed like twice per day. So besides the breakfast, the instant noodle, they also give food. So just normal, Vietnamese rice meal dish for lunch and dinner. And they do take care of you. Like the socials are super, super nice. So all of these people on social media were like, oh, this is such a great experience. So I think that sort of also affected my mental preparation. Sort of like, oh, this is just gonna be an easy trip. But I think I definitely forgot that this is still a very serious matter. And I think I do blame it on like my friends and social media in a way that they really downplay like why we have to be quarantined in the first place. It's not like the government has extra resources so they could just send a bunch of these random people into quarantine and having to feed them. It's because the government are very worried. We are also worried that they don't want the disease to spread. So that's why we have to be in quarantine. So that leads to when I first got here, I'm like, oh shit. Like I am in the same room with other people that I don't know where they've been. The three guys that work here were actually in the same company of patient number 34. I don't know if you can read Vietnamese, but patient 17 and patient 34 are like the two infamous patients now, like the super spreaders.
Right.
So basically all of their circles are being quarantined and everyone who like talked to them or so on were like just so worried. So obviously I was like shit, these people come from those hotspots, if you will. So I was also worried too, because what if I really don't have the virus and then they do have the virus and we basically share the same living space, we share the same bathrooms and toilet and so on. And yeah, I mean the chances, who knows. So that was really worrying me too. And then who knows for me too, maybe I had the virus and some of the guys they were tested negative and they still had to stay an extra day. So what if I were positive and I then infected them even like after they tested negative. So there was sort of a lot of I guess not very stringent methods in kind of doing this quarantine. So that really worries me for in the first few days. And obviously, is you're sleeping on a wooden bed.
Right.
There's just fans. It's been 36 degrees for 5 hours straight every day. So that is just not fun. It's very torturous. So yeah, it's not a retreat. It's not something to take lightly like some people have made it to be. But again, I think I also realized that the government's doing their best that they can. The soldiers are so nice. everyone in the facility, at least in my facilities, take this very seriously. So no one is kind of like joking around. So sort of everyone is on board of trying to get this over with and trying to stay safe as much as they can. So which is really nice. Because I see in other facility people are like, sorry, I just want to take out the stuff. Other facility people are playing games together, playing cards together, kind of like mingling and just like talking and so on, which in my center they definitely discourage from doing because of fear of actually infecting one another, which makes perfect sense.
So, about how many people would
Yeah.
you kind of guess are there with you?
So I guess right now it would be like maybe maximum 15.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a
So
pretty low number.
yeah, very 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 small number. Probably even less right now.
How did your family react? Like, how's your family reacting to you being quarantined?
Obviously they were like terrified. I think more so again coming back from the point of what if I will do get infected in the quarantine zones. Yeah, so it's more like that. But other than that, my dad or my family is like, "Oh, can we send you anything that you need?" And I'm like, "Yeah, can I get like a cloth so that I can start cleaning things, dish wash and so on." So just the basic stuff. And they send me stuff, so that and they check in on with me all the time, and we like always eagerly await the results for their samples and so on. So yeah.
How much more time do you think are you expected to be there?
So we are supposed to be here for 14 days straight. Because I heard that there's one case where they tested negative 3 times, and then the person still developed symptoms, and then on the fourth time, she was positive. But I think that was more on the case of probably getting infected in the quarantine, so not actually have the virus in the beginning. But so that was the only case. But so yeah, so I think on paper we were supposed to be here 14 days, but I think in reality, the government is quarantining a huge number of people. So I don't know if you read about this, but we classify people as F1, F2, F3,
Right, right.
right? Yeah. So now they quarantine, I think, even to F2, I think. So that's like a lot of people to do. So I think in reality, they also realize that they can't just keep. I think in Ho Chi Minh City, there's like 800 people right now, if not more, in like this communal quarantine. So that takes a lot of resources. That's a lot of beds to a lot of yeah, just a lot of resources. So I think that for the three guys who just left, who I guess have no symptoms whatsoever, who were probably deemed a very low risk of infection, they left early. So I think they've only been here like 8 days. Yeah, give me a second. I'm getting my temperature check.
Right.
Sáu tám. Dạ rồi, cảm ơn anh. Yep, normal temperature again. So that's my second. Yeah, so I guess they do that every day, twice per day. But anyhow, so I think they were also being very realistic about who would be high risk or who would be low risk. And for the low risk people, if we don't have any symptoms, our temperature are great. If our results come back negative, then there's no reason to keep us here. So I hope that I be out in a few more days.
All right. What are you looking
Yeah.
forward to doing once you're out? What's like one of the first things you want to do?
I'll sleep in a nice mattress, and then like I am not an AC person. Like I really, as you know, like environmental and so on. But holy shit, like trying to go through lunchtime from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. With no like kind of like cool air. And especially I just came back from Germany too, so I'm like I need to have some like cool air during the daytime. Other than that, no, nothing. I feel like my routine hasn't really changed. I'm still working on my laptop, still talking to friends. So basically, I'm doing the same thing. Maybe just eat more like home cooked food.
All right. Anything else you want to say about your experience or anything that happened to you or anyone that may be facing quarantine?
So say that one more time.
Anything else that you would like to say about your experience or like any advice you would like to give to anyone that could possibly be quarantined?
Yeah. I think just for at least for the people who and the government will tell you that whether they will say, hey, could you please go into quarantine because we worried. So I think they will inform you. And so if you do become the special chosen ones, just pack accordingly. So I don't know. They do try to provide everything from me here. So they provide like toothbrush and then clothes and so on. But also pack your own belongings, your personal necessities, uh, mosquito
Repellent.
repellents, yeah. Yeah, your own bowl. I don't know if you don't want to waste single-use plastic every day.
Oh yeah,
Like I was like, I have my own food now, yay! So I don't have to like throw out stuff. Well, like it's just like moving away from your place to another place. And as long as that your quarantine zones Grab delivery can still access. I mean, you can still pretty much order anything and anything. So yeah, not to worry about that. What else should I was thinking. Oh, actually, there's one thing that I was thinking about that did affect me a bit. That didn't make me or still doesn't make me quite happy. And again, for all the good reasons and totally understandably, but is how some of my friends sort of react to this. Obviously, is they only heard it from like all the celebrities or vloggers like tweeting about how this is like a retreat. So I do have a few comments that were like, "Oh, Ben, like it seems so nice in here. Like you have everything, like life is great." And I'm like, "No, fuck off. Like I told you how like it's not comfortable. Like again, like I appreciate that all of the efforts that the government is trying to do is still not your home. You still have that fear of getting infected in here. It's not comfortable. So like don't sort of diminish or downplay sort of the seriousness of this, even though I know that they kind of want to make light of the situation, but it kind of went the other way for me. That sort of they're just kind of laughing at my pain, if you will. So I think just for people to be very considerate and sensitive about the stress that us people who have to be in quarantine have to go through is not a joke. And I have another friend who was freaking out, even though she's like not in quarantine, but she was like, "Man, like, what if you get infected and then you go out and then you infect everyone?" Like that. I mean, again, that's sort of, I guess, valid sort of concern, considering that I also myself is concerned about getting infected in here. But when I heard that comment, and again, I think that's normal for this sort of pandemic time is, doubt and not trusting people and sort of like skeptical. And I just asked my friend, so, okay, when you say it like that, like, how does that make me feel?
right.
Do you want me to go home and then quarantine myself for another 14 days before you deem me safe enough to hang out with me? Do you not think that the Vietnam government, again, like is doing their like goddamn best to try to limit this? She's from America, and I was like, I almost said that, like, look at your old country. It's like a mess right there. So at least Vietnam is keeping their cases low, really low, or to their best ability. And even though the like the mixing people in here might not seem to be the best way, but I do trust that the government wouldn't let me go out until they are 100% sure that I have no risk of infecting my friends and family. So when this woman, this friend was like, "Oh, Ben, like, what are you gonna do about that? Are you sure you're not gonna infect other people?" I'm like, "Fuck off! Like that just make me feel so terrible because it makes me feel like a very inconsiderate person to my friends and my family that I just don't want to be in quarantine. I just rather go out and infect everyone." So again, just coming back to the point of being you have to be kind of considerate and sensitive to the stress that we're going through in here because we don't want to have to be quarantined. We are removed from our comfort home. And I think no one wants to infect their families or friends. So we would be the first one to take extreme cautions to not be the risk. Yeah, so we don't want to hear like judging from outside. So I think that's just normal during this
Yeah.
like
No, but I mean,
times.
if anything, I imagine you're almost safer because you're actually actively getting tested. Or like a lot of
Exactly.
people like might be positive and they just don't know. Because they're not getting tested.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's just those two things. Otherwise, oh, if you are gonna be quarantined, so oh my God, like again, it's the temperature that like really kills me. So I found this like little fan, sort of
Okay.
like air cooler for like 2 million. So I'm like, okay, that's cheap enough ish, but it really does help so much in trying to cool down my the temperature in
Okay.
my bed. Yeah. Uh, yeah.
Are you concerned about anything like you're posting on social media? I know that like sometimes Vietnam is a little bit cautious about what posts. Are you concerned about that at all?
I think no, because like I think they are really doing a great job. And I'm not saying this because they're tapping into our call, but I mean, again, you have to sort of like compare to, or we have to compare to other countries, and we see how other countries are just like fucking this up big time, and we come to really appreciate the efforts that the government's doing. And so I think all of my postings so far kind of reflect that, or at least doesn't like really criticize the government much.
Yeah, no, it's good.
So yeah, yeah, yeah. I think the only thing that I was pissed off was at the airport. And I think they understand how unprepared they were about the airport on Sunday. Oh, and that was really terrible. But otherwise, no. Yeah.
Well, you seem in great spirits, Ben. I'm hope to see you when you get out of there.
Yeah.
And
I have to wait for my test result. Oh man, God, this is so scary. Yeah, so but thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, I
thank
hope
you
to
for
get out
taking your time.
soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, take care, and I guess I'll see you when you get out of there.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
All
Bye.
right.
Have a
Stay safe. Bye. Mhm.